From the Opelco Studios at Britton and Broadway, this is the OU Sports edition of the Bedlam Nation Conversation with Jake Trotter. I'm Jenni Carlson. Jake, let's start with spring football. It is over. The red-white game on Saturday marked the end. Your thoughts on the spring for the Sooners?
Well, I don't think a lot happened that we didn't know already. The defensive front was outstanding, led by Gerald McCoy and the outstanding defensive ends they have. The offense didn't play all that well, but that was to be expected because Bradford played 3 series. Jermaine Gresham didn't play, Chris Brown didn't play, Matt Clapp didn't play. So I think everything went as expected, and I wouldn't worry too much about the offense because, as we know, the offense was terrible in the spring game last year. I think the defense outscored the offense in that game, and then OU went on to become the first team in however many years to score 700 points in a season. So I think the offense will be more than fine come fall.
And when we talk about the defense outscoring the offense, we're not talking about the funky scoring system either. We're actually talking about touchdowns scored.
They returned 3 picks for touchdowns last year. They had a couple of defensive touchdowns. Actually, the offense came out on top with 3 touchdowns versus the defense's 2. Franks had another TD, and J.R. Bryant returned a fumble for a touchdown. But it was dicey until John Nimmo, the walk-on quarterback, led the offense to a touchdown at the end.
Well, let's turn our attention to basketball now. Blake Griffin has announced he's leaving for the NBA. Unlikely that anything will change that. He's now a Sooner in the past tense. So how will he be remembered? How will his legacy be remembered amongst Sooners and OU folks for history?
Well, I think he has to be in the conversation as the greatest OU basketball player of all time. Obviously, Wayman Tisdale is in that mix. Alvin Adams, people would argue, but he's definitely there. And I think how he does in the NBA could help make him a stronger argument for that. I think people think he is a surefire, starter in the NBA, has a chance to be, a borderline star. So, surely, definitely, he'll go down as one of the all-time greats. And I think it's really cool that he's from Oklahoma City. Sam Bradford is from Oklahoma City. How many Naismith, Heisman winners are from the same city? It's a pretty incredible feat. I think somebody said Reggie Bush and Alex Smith both were from San Diego, but they went to 2 different schools, so that makes it even cooler that Bradford and Griffin went to the same university.
Let's turn our attention now to baseball. Spring is here, and people are actually now starting to think about softball, baseball, and those sorts of sports. OU baseball team took 2 or 3 over the weekend from Texas Tech. Is this maybe the best team around that nobody's really talking about because all the attention has been on other sports to this point?
They're first in the Big 12, and they definitely have played like the best team in the Big 12 thus far. Their hitting has been incredible. Brian Hernandez, shortstop, is vying for Player of the Year honors offensively with the way that he's performed this year. He's hitting over 400. He's had some pop this year, 6 or 7 home runs. At the top of the lineup, Jamie Johnson is doing an outstanding job. And then, they're hitting the ball deep, which is nobody would have thought that. They couldn't hit any home runs last year. This year, with Aaron Baker and JT Wise, they're getting the deep ball. And that, combined with the fact that Andrew Doyle stepped up in his role as an ace on Friday night, has been outstanding this year. And they got a big boost this weekend from Stephen Poirier, who's been out basically 2 years with an arm injury. He was their ace 2 years ago, was an all Big 12 performer. He's coming back and had a really strong performance Saturday. A great kid, guy like you like to root for. Went through a whole bunch of stuff, being in New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina, but he's coming back and he's doing really well. So they have a chance, I think, to win the Big 12, which nobody really would have thought with the likes of Texas and A&M and Baylor. Even Oklahoma State had some preseason hype too. But so far they've been the best team in the Big 12, and they have a huge series this weekend against Texas. Take 2 or 3 there, and then you're looking at a team that's going to host a regional in Norman and a team that has a legitimate chance to get to Omaha.
All right. Thanks, Jake. We appreciate it. Stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.